trying to make sure I get it straight. Flip this off. Looks pretty good. It's got a little bit of forward lean to it. Saw me flipping it back and forth. So I make sure it leans that way a little bit instead of in towards the grill. Got it pretty close to each edge. So did the smart thing, took a quick look at the instructions. It says even this main hoop is cut too long. It's supposed to go kind of where the main supports are, right in here, to strengthen them. So I think to get it here, I'm going to measure up, try and cut it at the right angle. The angle is what I'm worried about. We're going to try and match what's there because it sits super nicely. But I'm thinking trying to get it fairly even with the grill here. So take about that much off of it would be a good place to start. Go back the truck up a little bit and get the chop saw out and start making as few mistakes as possible. All right, it's another morning. Things are kind of a mess right now, so first step is to clean up shop here. It's not too bad, but I just have shit all over the place. Bumper's still on. Got my plate on. I did test the blinkers. They work. They do cause them to flash super fast because they're LEDs, so I ordered a new relay from Super Bright LEDs. So whenever that gets here, that should be fixed. I actually ordered LEDs for most of the lights around the truck. But today, we have to fix the issue I created myself by cutting this too short. When I throw these sides on, because I cut it too short, they sit there. But if it was taller, it would sit up there. So I do have the pieces that I cut off. I got one here. I have one more somewhere. Again, this is why I need to clean up. I did take 2 inches off of those end bars, and I think that's kind of perfect for how it's going to sit. Get that straight. It's going to sit kind of around there. You can see I got to bring that guy back up. So I'm going to clean up these edges, and then we're going to weld it all back together, grind it smooth, and it's good practice. The only issue is, once again, I'm getting low on gas, so let me turn this on. That's all I got. So I have some, but when it's full, it sits up around 1,500. So you can tell, definitely a little bit low, but we'll see what we can get through today. It is July 4th weekend. It is Sunday, so I won't be able to get gas till Tuesday when I run out. So I'm going to try and be conservative with this, only weld when I need to. And yeah, so we're going to get things cleaned up and we'll get started for the day. All right, I've got most of them finished up here. You can see not all of them are perfectly level. What we'll do is probably start with these 2 big guys. We will weld those back on because it needs almost a solid 2 inches of lift. This should be like 1.5 inches, and then we'll take the smaller ones if need be. We'll see how it all fits together. But yeah, we're going to start with these. Looking at it, it isn't perfectly down here. Well, it's not bad, honestly. If need be, we'll put the grinder back in the vise and we'll take whatever sides we need off. But yeah, we're going to go cut the 2 tacks I have on the bar there, and we'll start getting this set up. All right, so we have a beveled edge. Far from perfect, but it will do. Goes all the way around, gives me somewhere to weld. What I'm going to do is use my speed square. I will set it here, and we will match. I'll spin it a little bit. We'll get it to match the angle and do our best to kind of match the points up and everything. But we're going to go ahead, get it tacked in, set it on the truck, and see what it looks like. Got it tacked. Put it in 2 spots. Pretty nice gap all the way around for me to weld into. We're going to go set it on the truck and see what it looks like. All right, so not perfect. So, set him there. It's close. It's kind of where we want it. So I'm going to put the other pieces back on. I'll weld these into place, probably grind them down. It's a bit smoother. They're not straight at all, but that's not surprising. So yeah, we'll get these welded on and then work on the other pieces. Learning as we go here. Those welds are acceptable. You can see I started moving a bit faster. You can't see. We are getting penetration in there. Again, this isn't weight bearing. I'm not too worried about it. This will get ground down to match. So next is getting those 2 fitting. We're going to have to go ahead, put them back in the vise, run the grinder on them, and then put them on here. Alright, got both sides pretty much ground down. Gonna go set it on the truck. We're gonna see how flat it is. It was fairly level, but not perfectly flat. So we're gonna see what we can do to make it better, but all in all, fairly happy with how this fixed up. Don't touch it, it's fairly warm. Just learn that. And we'll go from there. I haven't tacked it on yet, but that bar is fixed. It's on there. It's almost perfectly level. Next is to fix the cuts I made on those. I cut the downside, and I should have been cutting, well, I knew I had to cut this side too, but I thought I was supposed to cut that side. It's all a mess. So, gonna weld those back together. I have those 2 pieces. Thankfully, it's just 2 pieces. Cut that length straight. I'll just clean them up and get them tacked back, get them welded back on there. Be as straight as possible. We'll get them put back in, and then we'll cut the lengths, and I'm supposed to notch them. I'm not sure how I'm going to notch them, but we'll get there. All right, so the irony of this stopping today when I was in the same spot yesterday makes me laugh a little bit, but it is what it is. So we've got this back tacked in. I did do some extra work down in here. You can kind of see cleaning that up. I used this guy, die grinder with a cutoff wheel. It's super small now, but I had to originally put the wheel in first, tap the die grinder on it, but was able to move that around. And then, again, non-working chuck, but that plus a lot of sand discs, like a lot of these. Thank God it was a bulk pack, and I missed that, of course. So that's good. Didn't run out of gas yet, so hopefully we're good there. I don't think I'm going to do any more on it today. I don't know how to notch the tube. I know hole saw, vise, things like that. I am 50-50 if I actually want to do that tonight or not. So back on working with the headlight bars. First things first, I drove it through bug swarms. So I'm going to get that cleaned up a little bit. See how much of that I can get off, because I obviously still have to paint this eventually, but went through a big swarm of them coming down from the high country yesterday. So I'm going to get it cleaned. My next steps, I've watched a couple videos on tubing notching without an actual notcher. One of them was from the fabrication series from over a year ago. Gave me some really good information. So I'm going to start by trimming this down a little bit so I can get that to sit further down. Find out where my start wants to be. I think I actually want it to start where I ended here. We're going to see how much I need to cut down, because I'd have to close this gap and kind of have this come into here. So we're going to start by taking small pieces off, because I already cut these down and had to weld them back together once. But yeah, first things first, get the bugs off. So I'm deciding if I want to notch it or take a little more off the bottom there. So to do the notch, what I plan on doing is kind of just scribing a line like that. I already did it on the other side. We'll run a cut with the chop saw kind of along this line, leaving, we'll shortcut it. You know, we're going to cut it way inside. And we're going to see how it fits. And we'll kind of continue to shape it that way. Because it's not a true notch, because this top is going to sit flush, hopefully, right up here. Because if we, so if we go like that, our top's actually going to sit right there. So our lines are going to be a little off. They're actually probably going to be a bit more extreme. So I think I might take, probably another inch. Let's take a quick look here. Here's our tape measure. So figure there's our second dot. It's about 3/4 of an inch in height. So I'll probably take 3/4 of an inch off the end there. I'll get as close as I can. The issue I'm running into is, even with this tight, all the blades on this move a little bit, so I have to make sure I take enough where it doesn't deflect the blade out. 3/4 of an inch is more than enough. So I'll probably take that off, and that will bring us to 1 3/4 inches taken off the end over here. And I'm kind of noting that so I can do the same when I get to that side. But yeah, we'll do that. That should drop this a bit. That should drop this a bit lower. And I might be able to scribe a more accurate line. The plus side to using dry erase markers is it comes off and you can remark super easy. That was not intended. It's just what I had, but it works out pretty well. So yeah, I'm going to cut 3/4 of an inch off here, and continue on. So that seems to have worked. I took that extra chunk off, fit right there. Set it up here to try and match, and then ran my line, my scribe line. I did it on both sides. This side won't go down as much. It starts hitting here, so we're still above the headlight, but the goal is it's going to look something like that. And you can see we're actually going to angle very nicely when I chop this. So we're going to start taking slow pieces off of this and go from there. So I did make some marks. You can see right there. I got this sitting where I want to. There we go. I marked kind of where it's going to hit this, and that's where I'm going to start. See, it's touching on the spot. I'm going to start with the grinder there and slowly get this to sit down. I'm going to leave this curve up here. That's almost exactly where I want it. It looks like it's going to sit perfectly on here. We will bevel this so we can weld it. But most of our work's going to be just with a grinder on the bottom here. So, just a progress update. Getting close. Been working that with a grinder. Slowly starting to sit down a little bit more. Reduce that gap significantly. So you can see how it's going at an angle. So I've actually been kind of grinding off in that direction, but it won't be perfect, but it's going to be nice. You can see, got the gap there. Let me check our hood clearance. Here we go. We're getting close. So all I've been doing is taking a marker in here, and you can see all the other marks. It's just touching kind of where I need to take it down to get everything to sit fairly flush. Again, not afraid to weld a gap. I'd like to get that gap closed up. Generally though, that looks pretty good. So I think I got it where I want it. We've got it pretty close. I think that's as good as I'm gonna get it. The one downside, I do have a gap back here, right there. It is hitting up here, so I might take the grinder to here a little bit and try and work this side down a little bit again. Because it's coming in like that, grinding it was off at an angle, and it wasn't ideal. But I am super happy with how it is even right now. It's sitting almost dead center on that tube, and since that's facing back, I honestly will probably just weld a gap in there. You can see I went a little too much with the grinder. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, that's a gap I can weld, and I'll fill it the whole way and then just take a grinder to it and make it look pretty, because, you know, grinder and paint. So we're going to tack this. All right, so this cut didn't come out nearly as nice. Aligned pretty okay. You can see that upper part should fall super nicely, but I've got a bunch of work to do. So I'm going to get the marker out. I'll go in here and I'll just make some marks where it touches, and we'll start grinding our way back and getting this thing to sit flush and see how they look. We might have to take it down a little bit. We'll see how it goes. All right, so a bunch of progress has been made. Did the same thing on this side. Slowly cut it down to size, use a bunch of flap wheel, and just got it as even as possible. Again, not perfect, but darn near close enough for me. The right side is probably still a little bit higher, but welded, ground, painted, I don't think we're going to notice a difference. The hood has about the same clearance on either side. But yeah, I'm more than stoked with how this came out, since I had no clue what I was doing. So I'll take it. The last piece is the piece that sits down here. Where did I put it? I don't see it right away. It's sitting somewhere. So once I get that, I basically have to bevel the top and bottom of that. That'll sit in here. It's got edges that will come out to here. And it's basically for the plate. The reason it's not on there is I kind of want to paint inside here. I may just spray the inside here black just to protect it, and not bedline that piece. I mean, I have more than enough Raptor over there in the corner, if you see the box, to do it. But I'd tape these. I'd have to tape across the top and across the bottom, weld and spray. So I haven't decided how I'm going to do that yet. I think what I'm going to do is pull the truck in so I can reach all of this, and I'm going to weld some of it on the vehicle. That way I can drive around a bit. we'll let it cool, make sure everything fits, and then probably tonight when I get back, I have to run out a little bit, pull this whole thing off and just hard weld all the tubing. We'll make sure everything still fits perfectly and be good to go. But again, super happy with how it came out. It's darn close to perfect. So no complaints. Again, process took a little bit of learning. So got some welds in. More than enough to hold it. I verified the hood's still clear, so this one got a little ugly. I did it the wrong way. So you can see it dripped down kind of with the flow. The rest of them came out super nice. I haven't brushed them yet, but there's more than enough holding this in now that I can drive with it and not worry about it. Again, all in all, that honestly looks super good. Came out fairly even, so I'll take it. But yeah, the rest of this, I'll have to pop it off and weld it. And when we do that, once it's off, we'll fit that lower piece because it'll probably be easier with it flipped this way and sitting on the floor, so I can weld all of that. Still unsure how I'm going to weld up back in here. I'll point it out when I'm putting the other piece on, but I'll have to weld it from the back. Not sure how that's going to work yet, but we'll get to that when we get there. It'll be nice to have this held on, not by zip ties. And then, so once all of that is complete, I'll basically wire wheel the whole thing, clean up all the welds, and we'll pick a day. It's like 100 plus here today. So I can't spray the Raptor. The Raptor is supposed to be sprayed around 70 degrees. So we will try and do that probably early one morning, or late at night and let it dry. So I have to set the primer can be sprayed a little bit warmer. From what I've been reading, I'll have to do some more research. I got to clean up. I wiped this all down to get bugs off of it before doing this today. But yeah, so gonna stop here. We'll call it good and we'll move on. Next, you'll see we'll be getting this bottom plate on. All right, so new morning, worked on the bumper. Pulled the truck out, got the bumper off. Last night, painted in here because this is going to get covered. That's kind of what we'll be working on today. I screwed up a little bit and welding this a little early. So I actually painted this piece too. Painted because I'm not sure I'll be able to get the Raptor coating on the inside here once this is on. And I didn't want to start spraying it early because you have to mix the hardener and everything. So use your imagination. It slides up, sits in the corners. It's not fitting right because I have some weld in here I have to clean up. So I just ran out of welding wire, and here my tip clogged. I hadn't cleaned it in a little bit, forgot to, and the shielding gas stopped coming out like it should, so I need to grind that down a little bit. But these upper welds came out super nice. I did it in phases because of how much I beveled this. I blew through it over here. You saw me tack it just a little bit. So I had a layer tacks in there, and you can see kind of same on this corner. So I need to go buy some more wire. Thankfully, I can get that on a Sunday. It's not like gas. There's a couple places I can go. So it's officially ready for primer. I got these two ends done. Had to trim them in. You won't be able to see any of that weird shenanigans in here when it's on. This weld got a little funky. But all in all, the fact I'm now getting welds that look like that, this project was well worth it. I'm super happy. This weld is perfect. So yeah, I have cleaned most of it down with alcohol. I'm going to give it one more rub down. I've blown it all out a few times. There's You can actually see it on the floor over there, all the grinding I did here to kind of fix all the shenanigans going on. But yeah, so I'm gonna stand it up. You can see I got the cardboard set up over there. It's my little paint booth. It'll be enough to prime it. I'll turn the fan on. I'm gonna vacuum everything up first and try and make it clean-ish.